I got this cowboy hat. Am I a real Texan now? I live in a whole different state now, and I have a lot to say about that. The last you saw me, I was in the Pacific Northwest in beautiful Northwest Washington State, where it is often overcast, yet not as rainy as my new home, which is in the piney woods of Texas. Now, I am a Texan by blood, but not by birth. I have lived over 3 decades in the Pacific Northwest, born and raised, and I am thoroughly of that culture. But surprisingly, I have not experienced a lot of culture shock, perhaps because I grew up with a Texan father and visited here a lot when I was a kid, so I feel like I'm taking the whole new living experience like a duck to water. The way I picked where I was going to live was I just found a map of the forested lands of America, and I knew I wanted to live in the South. I knew I wanted to live within a couple hours of the beach, but not too close because hurricanes are real. I found this Forest Service map, and I just kind of picked the densest little patch of forest that was in a reasonable distance from the ocean. So my first impressions were of the people being extraordinarily friendly here. Very good social skills, very good eye contact, and people are very polite. People do joke that the reason that people are so polite and kind in the South is that people are like carrying a lot, and I think there's definitely something to that. I basically moved to the hotter version of where I'm from, and that's why I like it here, because it's just like where I grew up, like those thick conifer forests, but like 100 degrees.
Oh, weed is illegal here, but I can get a Delta 9 gummy wherever I go. No card. That shit is so funny to me.
People are a little more positive about families and children here. I get more positive interactions about like existing with my kids out in public here in Texas than I did in Washington. And I don't know if that is a confirmation bias thing. If we're going to talk about confirmation bias, you know, my entire life experience could be that. I could be having a preconceived notion of, oh, I left this place and now my life will be better because I want it to be, because I made the effort to leave. So I'm going to notice all the better things about this place. And I'm trying not to do that because there's things I miss about Washington, like my friends and family and the mountains and the cherry blossom trees. And well, there's a lot of water here. The water is a little clearer back home. The rivers are a little like muddier here, which is fine. But I get to swim in the ocean here, so whatever. I don't know what's going on up there, but inflation hit the West Coast like a train. And I don't think that Texas is cheaper. I just observe that Texas is normal compared to that. And that might not last forever. And that should not be like the main reason you move somewhere. But it is a factor. Back in Washington, I have told my friends this a lot, how it's nice to like go to a public park with my children here and not worry about anything. I don't think it's entitled to want to be able to take your children to the park safely. We pay for those parks with our tax dollars. That is a public space. And I don't think it's too much to ask for public spaces to be maintained. That lack of consequences has created a more difficult society to live in, and it's given us less freedom. Now, all this to be said, I have a lot of friends back in Washington, and they are creating beautiful living spaces for themselves. Shout out to you guys. They're staying and they're being a positive influence on the culture. I've always wanted to move south. I am a sun fairy. That is what I identify as. I like to be in the sunshine despite my skin tone looking like this. So not only am I preferring living in the sun, but I have some chronic health issues that seem to respond positively to natural sources of vitamin D and just being outside and in the sun more. Like my chronic pain is generally lower here, and some of the symptoms I was having, like breathing symptoms, allergy symptoms, like mold illness stuff, is less here, despite it being quite rainy and, you know, nearby to some flood zones. But Here's some real estate advice. Look at those 100-year floodplain maps. Even if they might not always pan out to reality, even if we might all get flooded next year, if our overlord so decided, it's still a good idea to look at where you live in those floodplains. And I scored a piece of property with only the edge of it touching a floodplain, which is cool because then I get to build a natural pond at some point. So my health is better here. I'm happier in the sun. I like the people being all friendly. The best part about living in Texas is all the beautiful things I can grow. And I am a plant girly at heart. That was what this whole channel is about. And I'm so happy I can grow so many things. But this has been the most successful fruit and vegetable garden I've ever had in my life. Dude, like I just put some seeds in the ground, like, and they just grew. And we have like kind of shitty red sandy soil here, but we have so much sun, such a high extreme UV index, and such frequent thunderstorms, at least this year, that it just kind of looked after itself. Obviously, I water and I add soil when I need to, but here I can like grow vegetables to feed my family, which has always been my end goal. I've taken some time off of working to just be a mom, which, as you know, is a full-time job, and it's given me a lot of perspective. So I've taken all this time and thought about like what I want to do with my life, and I think it's healthy to not know, but I know that I want to go in the direction of becoming self-sufficient for my family, spend as much time as possible in my little space of love. I've become more involved with the Ringing Cedars of Russia movement and the Kins domains, and now that I have a hectare of land, I can start working in the direction of making this truly my family domain, my family homestead, a place of a little slice of paradise that can like care for us all, and we will care for it. I think that's what God put us on earth to do, is to care for the land and have it take care of us, and to make the most beautiful spaces possible, and to spend our days in creation. Upon moving here, the urge to procure a rhinestone cowboy hat and matching boots has been insurmountable. Things are bigger in Texas. The parking spaces are bigger, the cars are bigger, my ego is bigger. No, it's actually not. I'm very insecure. I'm kidding. What else is bigger? Not the gas prices. That is nice. I think overall, I'm just more at peace here. I have more space. I have more quiet. I have more freedom. And for me, that gives more happiness. Of course, I have a lot of responsibilities. I am a mother of 3, and I have a property to maintain and everything that comes with that. But those are good things. Certain types of responsibilities actually give you freedom, I think. If they're good for your heart and they're good for other people and yourself, then you're basically creating the life you want. And there's a freedom in that. That's one of my philosophical takeaways of this experience. So, fun fact about me, I've never lived anywhere besides the Pacific Northwest. I have traveled, a lot of places in the world, and especially America, but I have not really lived anywhere besides where I'm from, besides the West Coast, and I'm a deeply West Coasted individual. Like, I am the type B friend. Sometimes I am overly chill, unless one of my cleaning neuroses is triggered, then I'm decidedly not chill. But overall, like, I'm kind of a live and let live person. I like to sit on the beach and stare into the ocean. Not a thought in my head. I feel like my laid back attitude fits in pretty well over here, and that is a good feeling. I hope I am taking the best parts of my upbringing in the Pacific Northwest and bringing it here. What I loved about the Pacific Northwest was all the art and music. I was just around a lot of creatives, and perhaps that's like who I surrounded myself with, and I was lucky for that. But I know I can find that here, because anywhere you go, like, there you are, and you can find whatever resonates with you in every place you live. I understand that I am saying extremely kindergarten basic things, but it bears repeating. My aunt and uncle, when I told them I was moving to Texas, they have a beautiful homestead. It's literally goals. And of course they were like, "Oh, you're leaving," but they were so supportive. They told me something that I really needed to hear. They said, "I'm so glad you're doing this now, because if you tried to move across the country with your family when you're older, that would be so hard." And they're extremely fit and active for being like in their 60s and 70s. But they're like, our bodies hurt. Like, we're tired just maintaining our property and our house. It's a beautiful job to have, but it's still tiring. And so for them, it was good that I'm doing this now while I'm like young and spry. And so that is your sign, guys. If you've been putting off some big move in your life, whether it's like a physical relocation or starting a dream project, even if you don't think you're good enough, you are good enough, you will become good enough. You should just start it now, because we're only getting older. And yes, age is kind of a psyop, but my telomeres of my DNA are, they're shortening and lengthening depending on how good I take care of myself. But eventually, I will die. And I want to have accomplished what I want to accomplish before then. And I want you to have accomplished that too. So like Shia LaBeouf says, don't give up on your dreams. Make your dreams a reality. What does he say? He says, do it now. Oh my gosh. Also, I went to a Buc-ee's. My family really likes Buc-ee's. Like, whenever we get in the car for more than 20 minutes or 30 minutes to go anywhere, my kids are like, where's the Buc-ee's? Are we going to Buc-ee's? And I'll give you, their brisket is fire. But other than that, like, why do they like Buc-ee's so much? But give me another couple years as a Texan, and maybe I'll become more of a Buc-ee's fan. I do have some Buc-ee's flip-flops that are pretty good. What are some other Texas things I can talk about? I don't know what I expected, but this ain't the most eco-friendly place to live. I don't even have recycling service on my street, and so I have to get very creative about what I buy biodegradable packaging when possible, use cardboard in my garden, all that good stuff. I'm up for the challenge, but I don't love how at the grocery store, they will often double bag single items. Oh my gosh, I'm such a West Coaster. I don't speak for the whole state, of course, and it's really important to remember that these are policies, not people. I've also been warned about the less than ideal power grid out here, all the outages during the winter and during storms, so I'm going to become intimately familiar with that. Someday get solar panels again, like I had in Washington, get a generator soon, and have many cozy autumn fires. Either way, I'm happy I'm here and I'm up for the challenge. But don't get me started about Texan drivers. They are madmen, mad lads, Mario Kart competitors, but drunk. Where's my blue shell? I could love it here, but still complain. I've been meeting people on Facebook Marketplace, buying plants. There are so many, planty people in Texas. Oh my gosh. Maybe it's because you can grow a lot of stuff here, but there's a bunch of people just selling their cute little plant starts that their plants just make too much of, and just, basically giving it away as a hobby. They got a bunch of hibiscus starts for $3 each, and all these people are just self-taught horticulturalists, and they're so knowledgeable and they're so kind, and I've learned so much from them because I don't know anything. I have been an herbalist since basically I was a teenager, and clinically I've been an herbalist for a decade, and I know nothing out here. I go out in my back forest acreage. I don't know any of those plants. I think it's good to be humbled. It keeps my brain young and neuroplastic. I'm learning all the little things. Thank you guys for hanging out with me, listening to me ramble about Texas and Washington. All the love in my heart to all the Texans and all the Pacific Northwesterners. Anyway, I gotta go because I gotta go pick up my kids. I love y'all lots. Bye.